Tarke here, another update. We're about to do a 3 watchstone Halazim. So this might be the end of the character. We are 90 with 8.8k EHP, minus 27 Chaos Res. Let us go to standard. I've planned out the champion build we talked about in the last video quite a bit more. And I've got a path of building ready to show you for that. But hopefully we'll get this down nice and clean.
Your tolerance to the intolerable is admirable.
I'll get loot at the end.
Not all murders.
Let's go full Zuma. If you haven't seen it already, I did record a rather lengthy video talking about the dev manifesto in regards to Delirium in quite a bit of depth, so would recommend if you want to listen to a 38-minute long video. If you don't want to listen to a 38-minute long video, fair enough. That was slightly longer than I planned it to be. I was hoping it would only be like 20 or so minutes, but anyway. How is this build going? Still great. Still haven't got the gear for Toxic Rain, mostly because I haven't felt the need for it yet, although as I'm getting into like 12s, 13s, I do feel like, oh, I could kill this boss a bit quicker. I am still only on a +2 bow, and I don't have it in power. I have got level 20 gems now, no 21s, or my vials have failed. So I could... that's spicy, sorry. I could... oh god, yeah, this is a bit... Right, we might have to end this one. No, we could... I think we can just double back round. Okay, no, we're good, we're good. Oh, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Can't see shit. Okay, hang on, hang on. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Please end. Please end now, button. I don't think I can press the button. Should we do another lap? Let's do another lap. Let's go around again. Oh god. 6 rewards, please. Keep on going. Just keep on going in circles. This mechanic is perfectly 6 levels of reward. Perfect. It's not even that rippy, you know what I mean? Right. I do like that. It's quite fun. Let's put in Pierce. Whew. That was exciting. Right. So you can see the damage is like passable, but it would be a lot nicer with Toxic Rain on. Alright, now the real fucking... Ugh. Do I want to go for double life flask? I kind of feel like I want to go for double life flask. Yeah, let's do double life flask. Where is my spare life flask?
I will never go down without a fight, beast. Skin you alive!
Please don't do that.
I'm faster.
Uh-oh.
Not so easily. Out! Strike!
There you go. Wait for the poison to drain away. Ooh, huntering, that could be nice. Any weak on hits. Can just craft life. Well, it's actually a pretty decent ring. Not too shabby. So I will go back through the map picking up the loot and we can talk about the build. So as you can see, the EHP is still great. Obviously if I was CI at this point, I'd probably lose a little bit of EHP with the amount of gear that I've got saved up. I'd probably go to about 8k, maybe 7.5k energy shield. but my sustain would go up significantly because the real advantage of doing CI on this kind of a build is you use Soul Strike, something like Beta Breath, and then you just get very silly numbers when it comes to just raw sustain on your energy shield. So while my EHP would go down a little bit, my sustain would go through the roof. And with this league, you need a mix of things. You need to have good sustain, and you need to have good like mitigation and EHP. That's also one thing which the champion build I'm going to show you in a second has significantly more mitigation than this character. Significantly more mitigation. Nice crash. However, it has far less sustain. Ways that I could boost up the sustain would be getting some life gain on hit shenanigans. And there are a few ways you can fit life gain on hit into the build. You can get life gain on hit on rings. You can get life gain on hit. Obviously through Thief's Torment is a very large source of it. You can also get life gain on hit on small life-based cluster jewels. Speaking of cluster jewels, this is what I've rolled so far. So this is basically my perfect medium jewel. It has got a open suffix, which would be adding a node. Like, sorry, it wouldn't add a node. It would add a mod to the travel node, so like flat life or chaos res or whatever. The reason why this is perfect and why I'd want 2 of these is so the small nodes give 5% chaos damage every time multiplier, and then one notable gives 5 chaos damage every time multiplier and 30 skill effect duration, which is a huge damage multiplier. For Toxic Rain, and then the other one gives 10 damage over time multiplier and then 30 chaos res against dots, which the champion would be life-based, so just having very high sustain against that would be very nice. So there's lots of actually very scary, like, chaos degen clouds. So if you had 2 of these, because you can fit in 2 mediums on a large, that would be 60% chaos res against damage over time. Basically, you ignore damage over time completely if you've got just a little bit of chaos res on your character. Funnily enough, you can also get exposure therapy on small jewels, as I've rolled here on 2 smalls. Ideally for smalls, I would be using life ones, but if you want to go full DPS, this is what you'd go for, because you can get more dot multi on the smalls. So if you were to go for 2 mediums and 2 smalls of this, that'd be 120 chaos res against damage over time, which is definitely significantly overkill, but it's worth considering. For some wonky-ish builds. So I'll show you the latest tree that I have, what I've come up with, and what it looks like in terms of path of building. So this is the tree I've settled on. Now, I was thinking originally that I could use a Thread of Hope here, and with a Thread of Hope here, you can get Iron Reflexes, Heavy Draw, this node, and Deadly Draw. But I don't think I'll get a very large Thread of Hope anytime soon. The new Cirrus is very scary, and no one in our league is really farming them. Carver's had some talk about doing it, and maybe he'll get around to farming it eventually, but there's going to be like a long waiting list, so I thought I'll try and plan it without. So this is a level 91 tree with a fully min-max cluster jewel setup. Both Fortify clusters, 219% life. Pretty solid. Now this doesn't have any real increased damage scaling. This is the shortcoming of this tree. So this tree gets nearly all of its damage from this cluster jewel setup, which I'll show you in a little bit. And the only increased damage it gets is this cluster and this cluster. Now granted, there's a lot of damage in here. This is like 100% just there. And you do get increased damage on some of these nodes. But if you could stack up a bunch of increased damage on jewelry, because you can get like 30% chaos damage on rings, amulet, you can also get it on belt and stuff. Since we're getting just a bunch of more multi on the tree, so we're getting so much more multi, we now have to scale increased damage to even it out. So, why would you go for this kind of a tree? What is the benefit? Why would you do this rather than just doing a typical kind of tree, or like the CI tree I showed using this jewel up there? So this is what I've come up with as like the ideal setup. So you need an eye level 75 large cluster jewel to get 2 jewel sockets off it. You can get Unspeakable Gifts, which gives you clear. Enemies you kill have 10% chance to explode, dealing quarter the maximum life as chaos damage. This is fluff. That one isn't mandatory. These other 2, in my opinion, are mandatory. Wicked Pal or pool or whatever. It gives 35% increased chaos damage and 20% skill effect duration, which is very important. Chaos damage. Chaos skills have a 10% chance to hinder enemies on hit. Enemies hit by you take 10% increased damage. You're constantly hitting with Toxic Rain, so that's always up. Chaos damage, and then medium duel. 5% chaos multi on the small point. 10% multi, 30 against dots. 5%, 5%. 5% multi, 30 skill effect duration, so you want 2 of these, 2 identical ones. So that's 30, 60, 80% increased skill effect duration, which is a lot of skill effect duration, considering these clusters normally only give 45. So even without them, that's the equivalent of taking like both of these clusters, which is very, very strong. And then these are using life minor jewels. So you can get 4% maximum life on the travel nodes, which I think is the optimal setup to go for. But as I said, you could go pure damage if you wanted to. And I think I'd mess around with Feast of Flesh. Feast of Flesh is the one which gives the life gain on hit. So with 2 of these, you'd have 20 life gain on hit without any sacking on jewelry. Alternatively, you could go for Fettle on small, which gives 10% life and 20 flat life on the small nodes, which is very powerful. The other option you could go for, instead of Unspeakable Gifts, if you didn't want the boosted map player, you could get, it's called Unholy Grace, which gives 30% chaos damage, 10% attack and cast speed. Getting extra 30% damage would obviously be great. It'd be much better on single target. The attack speed is also huge for single target. So it would be much more damage. This just happens to be very nice map clear, and I happen to have those mods on a jewel. There. Sadly, only with 1 jewel socket. I need to get it with 2 jewel sockets. But for now, I could do that into that into that as like a basic setup. So, yes. So, compare this to like a traditional tree. I've seen trees that look kind of like this from last league. This has slightly more damage, but it has a lot less skill effect duration. And if you were to actually like min-max the gear and stuff, I think you'll get more damage with a cluster jewel tree. And the cluster jewel tree has significantly more defense, because the cluster jewel tree has both fortify clusters, 259% increased armor, which is kind of ridiculous. So with no real special gear on, I've just kind of gone for like life rolls, no % armor scaling or anything like that. You've got 23k armor with just a blank granite flask on. So if you had a granite flask of iron skin for something like Vol Molten Shell, all of a sudden you end up with then a very sexy Molten Shell, a very sexy chunk of armor, and you're getting close to the 30k cap absorb. Getting the cap absorb is very strong when you have this much mitigation going on. So yeah, I think this is something I want to experiment with. The main thing is just working out how to fit in the sustain, and the most obvious way, or seems to be obviously, going for life gain on hit. The other weakness of this setup, and this is something you would have to fix up, as you can see, you do have some fairly steep stat requirements. So you don't need 212 dex. You need 159 dex for level 21 Toxic Rain. Most people will be using the Imperial Bow, because the Imperial Bow is the source of the easiest source for 6-link. You could go for the Porcupine instead, which is a short bow, which would have much lower dex requirements and also has a higher base attack speed. It's just harder to farm Porcupine cards. So I would most likely actually probably go for Porcupine cards. And I would just make a bow like this, hit the +1 level of succeeded gems, then multi-mod it for +2 support and chaos damage multi from Kata. Ideally get attack speed as the suffix, so you could go for like +1 gems attack speed as your suffix, and then do the multi-craft, put those 2 on there, and then you're basically done. And yeah, that would actually make going for the stat requirements pretty easy, because you'd then only need to get 60 dex and like 60 int somewhere on gear. And you could obviously always go for like proficiency or hard knocks for easy scaling that way. But anyway, let's talk about my current character, since that's all theoretical stuff. I haven't really gotten any major upgrades since the last video. However, I did get this, which is really nice. So I bought a talisman craft And because I got the Talisman Craft, previously it was Strength and Int, now it gives me 10% chance to gain Frenzy Charge on kill. Because I use a Restless Ward, I have 20-second long Frenzy Charges. So because of this amulet, I have 100% uptime on Frenzies while mapping, which is really nice. Also, fun fact, I can trigger the hell out of Carve by doing this, because he's tracking these on his filter. So if I just move these around a bit, he'll be very happy with me. So yeah. Me and Carve have an issue that we're playing in a small hardcore private league, and we both need the exact same things. So it's kind of interesting that we're like, we need the same things. What do we do? So I keep trying to buy his jewels. He keeps trying to buy my jewels. Oh, and Mitch just died in the top 10. That's a bit of a yikes, but anyway. I'm Tarke. The character is coming along very nicely still. I'm just going to keep progressing my Atlas, keep unlocking more watchstones, and keep trying to get gear that I need to make the champion version. My goal in having 2 characters, and why I'm thinking about having 2 characters, is when you're playing hardcore, especially, you can see that I am like still fully pushing my Deliriums and I'm doing red maps. It does get very rippy. It's nice having 2 different characters, because if you fall over on one, you can just jump on the other character, and you can have it so one character is more suited to like mapping, one's more suited to bossing. And I don't feel like my CI gear is really good enough to respec this character fully. So what I could do is have a very nice life-based character while I keep collecting CI gear, so I can then have like a very strong like mitigation, crazy high HP character, which I would use for like mapping on, and then I would have this like really nice sustain character that I'd use for bossing, because you need way more EHP for mapping than you do for bossing. Because for bossing, it's just like the boss hits this hard, so you just need, as long as you've got enough, the boss can't one-shot you. You just need to be able to sustain the boss fight. So that's kind of what my end game goal is right now, is kind of have like the Trickster go full like CI boss mode, and then have the champion go full mapping you can't kill me mode, and just like go crazy farming Deliriums. But yes, I'm Tarke. I hope you're all having a lovely time. Please game, drop the cluster jewels I need. I'll leave links to everything down below. Bye-bye.